I think it was fucking alright. Trying to get in here to make sure that it's fucking. I got in trouble last week. People were trying to watch it, and I fluffed it there a little bit in the start of this. I made a mistake. Can you imagine me ever?
Let's knock this out in half an hour and go and do our stuff.
Yeah, mate, for sure. Right. Bit of privacy, which we didn't do last week. Public, so anyone can watch. Change. Done. We're about 30 seconds off going formally live. Councillor? Canceller. As soon as we hit the 7:30, we can do our little intros, and that'll be all good. Short, sharp, and to the point this week, I think.
So we'll knock it out.
Just a Lydia Thorpe stuff.
Yeah, you can fill me in on that. I haven't followed it. We'll have a talk about it in a minute.
Yeah, we'll do it on air because it'll be fun anyway. Much to the distaste of many people, find Lydia Thorpe valuable in Parliament. I consider her wrong on most things, but I do see some value in her existence, which confuses a lot of people.
Takes all of the opinions.
I agree. And we're here at 7:30. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 19. Doing another Spin Doctors. We're rocking and rolling.
That's pretty good.
Welcome along, Councillor. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you too, Dean.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, my name's Anthony Irvine. I'm a councillor currently on Temora Shire Council, but all of the views expressed here are mine alone and not those of Temora Shire Council.
And I'm Dean McRae, and I've got a big mouth, and I don't answer to anybody too much. Yeah, look, and I call a spade a spade. I call it as I see it. I don't answer to anybody. I'm not beholden to anybody. I'm certainly not owned by anybody. My opinions are certainly my own, and I'm happy enough to digest facts, figures, and information as it comes to light. And if I'm wrong, people will be shocked to learn that on this very program and in other programs I've been involved in, I've admitted being wrong on occasion.
Yeah, well, it always helps.
I think it's important.
Anyone who pretends that they never get anything wrong is pretending.
Well, lots of people pretend's pretty normal now. Lots of boys pretend to be girls when they're pretend to be politicians, can pretend to be honest. How's your week been, mate?
Solid, pretty solid week, fairly productive. We had 2 days of warbirds down under on the weekend, so I was out there for 2 days. I had my truck out there just in case. It's got a crane on it. It's got a crane on it.
Yep.
So just in case something went wrong that we could fix up quickly, I basically put 2 days in, and they fed and watered us and put us up in some pretty fancy digs.
Fancy digs? You only live 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah, no. But I came home of an evening, but just during the day. I know their hospitality was fantastic as always, and they had a pretty good roll-up. I think the overall crowd attendance for the 2 days was 12,700 officially.
That's not a bad run. Was it $75 a ticket or something?
Depending on where you were, yes, it could be.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go the 2 days in GA, you'd be up for that. And then if you wanted to go 2 days in higher levels of, like they had a grandstand, I think it might have been $250 for the 2 days.
Yeah, right. Okay.
They had another a catered area that was pretty fancy and schmancy and had it all laid on.
The VIP section?
No, this was called Harding's Country Club.
Right.
Yeah, they had a big marquee set up for those people that wanted to be schmoozed.
Yeah, right.
Michelle Seymour, local caterer, did the catering for that section.
Good.
I was lucky. I was in the Red Hen. Not the Red Hen. I was in the VIPs, and we got catered by another local catering company called Red Hen Catering.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were pretty well tended to, and the show was fantastic. I was really disappointed that a couple of the aircraft didn't fly, but that's just nature. Part of the course when you're dealing with antique aircraft that can be grounded for things that may seem insignificant.
Yeah,
but it's testament to the operation and the quality of the operation when they can have so many really old aircraft. Like, when we're talking about aircraft that flew in World War II, we're talking about 1940. So that's 60 odd years in the last century, and plus another. So we're talking about aircraft that are approaching 80 to 90 years old, and some are older.
Older.
And they're mechanical things.
Yeah, well, that's, yes.
So, yeah, like I say, it's an absolute credit to the owners, to the
So who owns it
engineers.
these days? Who runs all that? How's it work?
A couple of years ago, David
Because
Lowe,
it was David Lowe, the Lowe
the-
family and what have you.
the 12 warbirds that they had in the collection out there, he gifted them to the Australian government or to the RAF.
Right,
And the RAF formed Squadron 100.
right.
Now, it's their heritage arm.
Yep.
And it's a great idea from where I sit, because it basically keeps that acknowledgement of where we've sort of come from and what we've been through alive. And it reminds people of the cost in both machine and men.
Yep.
Of these things. And it's easy to forget the hard times about it all. I had a great uncle who was a flight instructor out at 10 FTS at Temora in World War II, a fellow called Jack Irvine. So he's one of my grandfather's brothers.
Yeah, right.
So he was a flight instructor. They had over 100 Tiger Moths out there, and they used to do basic flying training, elementary flying training school it was. So that was their first introduction to flight. Quite often those guys went pretty much straight from the Tiger Moth into the Spitfire, and it was on. So there wasn't much of an in-between. But
yeah.
that's how it was in the war, when the shit was hitting the fan pretty hard.
I suspect it was.
Yeah.
I wasn't around for it, but
so
yes,
that's the sort of basis of it. So the RAAF now host the Warbird collection, and they've also employed the engineering staff as civilian RAF employees.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And then the museum, or the tourism side of it, is run as a separate entity. So they run the tours and the guests coming through the
okay.
Like that. So
very good. Very good.
So it was really good. And the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter put in an appearance from Williamtown. It took a whole 18 minutes to get from the other side of Williamtown down to Temora.
Yeah, right. So it's a slow-moving beast.
Yeah, it's not the most express thing getting around, but it goes pretty good when they crack it. Just around that 2,000 k an hour.
Yeah.
So that's cruising.
Yeah, right. Well, that's all pretty good.
Yeah, so that was pretty sensational, really, for a town this size. It all went pretty well. The traffic seemed to move in and out well. I looked around the venue and I couldn't see any bottlenecks or people not being catered to. Got a bit warm in patches, and that's going to do that. But,
does that this time of year? That's just the world we live in.
But it went really well. So that was
that's good.
That was really good. On a negative note, there was an act of vandalism out at the lake over the weekend where a couple of the solar lights were knocked over. There's a couple of sides to that. The solar lights were donated by the builders of the solar farm south of town, Beon Energy,
right,
as a gift to the community. But they're probably not up to a strong enough standard to withstand a bit of rough housing. So
yeah, okay.
There's been situations where people have gone along and kicked 10 of them over.
Yeah, which these things happen, sadly.
The stuff that has to be out in the public space needs to be really robust. So I think there's a couple of things there. These probably aren't quite strong enough, and we've got idiots in the community as well who do stupid shit.
Right. That's what life is. I've done stupid shit. You've done stupid shit. I guarantee anybody who's watching this has done stupid shit some stage and some occasion.
And there are people in the community who feel aggrieved and just don't feel part of the community, and have got a bit of a hate down on society. Yep. So, I can understand how it happens. It's disappointing, but the best thing you can do is just repair it. Clean up the mess, move on, and
you try and make the place around you a bit better, and work with whoever you can work with to.
Yep. So that's that was sort of the good and the bad of it all, really. Yeah. But there's been a extraordinary council meeting today just to receive the financial
one.
Well, it's extraordinary because it's outside the normal meeting program.
Right.
There's a couple of things we needed answers on. We had to go over the financials and stuff like that. But
any interesting topics on the financials? We've been discussing them for quite some time.
Oh, look, it's just the opacity of them that I struggle with. A little bit of high level stuff, and you can't really drill in that far.
Yeah, right.
It appears we've made a profit, but.
Well, that's good. Profit's good. There's plenty of councils going bankrupt around the around planet Australia.
So that's pretty good, but that's not guaranteed. And there seems to be a bit of conversation around the fact that the costs may outweigh the income if we cease to be receiving the grant money. We tend to rely on grant money to top it up. So we don't We don't cover costs.
We're not self-sufficient
No.
per se. We're reliant
so
on daddy state government.
Rely heavily on handouts.
Throw us some money. Cool, we're a charity case. I love it.
That's how the government likes it. Because it keeps us in line.
Well, that's how the government likes it with everybody, not just councils, but individuals. They like to roll it, dole it just enough to keep people compliant, happy, and obedient.
Yeah.
It's not really my thing. I don't even like looking at their paperwork. It makes me.
No.
I actually have a physical reaction anytime I have to interact with the government department. It's not pleasant for me,
it never is.
Nor them, because I just really don't.
No.
I don't like any of it really.
No.
I'll fill out this form. Why do you? None of your damn business. I just can't function with these pricks looking over my shoulder. It's none of their business what I'm doing at any stage whatsoever. I can, though, on the other hand, and a few of my mates would call me hypocritical, I can fully see people on the dole having to answer for the free money they get. So I don't have any issue with work for the dole. I don't have any issues with having to report your financials. I wasn't even overly. I was sort of over. I was a bit. That card, the welfare card. I dislike it, but I dislike that you're getting paid. So I dislike the fact they want to babysit you, but I dislike the fact that they've also set you up to be,
dependent on
this system, and they make you dependent, and then they get upset when you're not dependent. And there's a reason there are signs around places saying don't feed the bears or don't feed the wildlife, because they become dependent on that and they lose their independence. And for me, that's a really big thing. I just can't stand. I've been doing a heap of stuff at the moment with the New South Wales state government regarding my kid's last name. He's decided he wants to change it over, and I'm already just fried with him. Here's what I want to do. Here's all the paperwork. Here's everything I got. His mother agreed. We signed, we worked through it kind of together. Obviously, we're a long, long way apart, but it's all done. Oh no, well, hang on a minute. We're happy with this and this. I'm one parent. She's the other parent. The child's happy with this, wants the scenario. What the blue hell does it have to do with you monkeys? Stamp the bit of paper and shut up. End of story. That's all you're there for.
There's no fight here.
There's no fight. So the fight now is me and you.
Yeah. Why do you need to make a fight out of it?
Correct. I'll give you a fight. I mean, I'm happy to punch on with governments all day. It's like what I do for sport. But there is no need for you to do anything other than stamp the bit of paper. You dickhead.
There's an endless supply of government people that are willing to waste your time.
They've got to justify their existence.
Pressure. They'll waste your time and raise your blood pressure.
They've got to justify their existence because without arguing with somebody like me, their job is null and void, because their job produces nothing, creates nothing, does nothing.
No, it doesn't.
Governments. I shared it this morning. Government's like a business that has no incentive whatsoever to deliver on any of the services that it claims to provide, because it's all paid for with the threat of violence at the other end. Pay your bills or we'll send you to jail. Or pay your bills or we'll raid your bank account. Pay your bills or we'll shoot you.
Yeah, we'll garnish this or we'll do that or we'll...
Absolutely.
We'll impinge on your rights in some fashion.
Oh, we will absolutely mess your day right up. So they're clans.
No, I understand that, and I can sense your disappointment there, but how far off are you getting that result?
I'll get the results. Yes. It just my biggest thing is not to go in there and go off my head and give them a listen, you're a dumbass, by the way, you're a dumbass. I don't know who you are or why you're standing there. None of you people have any say in this whatsoever. Pack your shit and on your bike. But, I'm
they're very sensitive, though.
Oh, aren't they just? We can't have our feelings hurt by our desire to, stick our noses into your business.
One of the common...
Involuntarily, I might add.
One of the most common charges that they put towards a councillor is they've made disparaging comments, and that's one of the big code of conduct ones. And I was actually looking up the meaning of the word
disparaging comments.
Well, I was looking up the meaning of the word disparaging the other day, and it basically means that you can't say anything that isn't praise, like
blow wind up my bottom, or you're hurting my feelings.
Like disparaging is such a broad.
It's a vague term. Dickheads to justify being dickheads.
It's an expression of the opinion that something is of little worth.
Well, I would say that from everything from...
Can't you say that a program run by a council is of little worth?
Yes, I can, and I will. I will continue to. Most programs run by a councillor are of little worth. Most programs run by a government of little worth, and the less government, the better.
Yeah, so it pretty much means that you can't have an opinion that isn't a glowing opinion of something.
Yeah. Well, don't you dare tell us what you really think.
Yeah, and
it's bullshit.
Well, it is, particularly when they do plenty of things that you don't think are very good.
What are they doing? I got a list.
So, I think that's popped up in a few of the matters concerning me and my 4 codes of conduct.
Look at this 4
Hey, I haven't got one on me at the moment.
You haven't got one at the moment? Nothing pending. Yeah, right. Give them 5 minutes.
So the council elections are on the 14th of September.
Yeah.
It's now nearly
24th of October.
We're about 6 weeks in.
6 weeks in, you haven't got
a code of conduct yet.
You need to up your game, son. You need to up your game. Are you even trying?
Yeah, I know.
I'll tell you what, though. I don't know if you saw my girlfriend Lydia Thorpe went off ahead again this week. She's been in the media.
She's fairly inflammatory. She does polarizing, I think is a good term.
I'll tell you what, I've spent a little bit this afternoon with, I don't even know what the thing was, one of the Facebook newspapers where they've talked about how she should be kicked out of Parliament, she should be banned, and she's the worst thing in the world ever. Partially because, I don't know, she called the king a dickhead. Well, yeah, I'm not sold on that. I think the royal family has its purpose, but I couldn't give a rat's ass and I wouldn't bow down to them.
I can't think of what that purpose might be other than to be the figurehead of a...
I see them as a bit of a, not even an arbiter. They just kind of exist over there and, okay, right, you're the boss or whatever, you stay over there, don't come near anyone, stay apolitical, which Charlie has done anything but stay apolitical. So if he gets smacked around a bit, I got no sympathy for Charlie. But then you sort of look at how she, did something with the oath. Oh, well, she's violated the oath, she's blah, 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 but she's made it pretty clear she couldn't give a rat's ass about any of that. And she got elected. Oh, but she got elected through, she with the Greens, and now she's not with the Greens. LNP people do it. Labor people do it. All the minor parties do the same sort of shit. That's the rules of the game as the game is set out. It's like going to an AFL game and you go, these are the rules, or a footy game, league, whatever.
I'm sure the same conversations have been had before a Shire Council. I got elected, and I'm sure there's quite a few people there.
How do we stop this?
Yes,
we disagree with it.
I'm happy with it.
I'm also really happy to say, I think batshit lunatic crazy. I disagree with 99.9% of her policies. But the other one, her one redeeming quality is I honestly believe she believes every bit of bullshit that comes out of her mouth. I believe Lydia Thorpe, as big a fucking idiot as she is genuine in her belief that she's standing up for something just and true. Now, she's wrong, but I actually trust her. I don't even want to say integrity on the point because she's obviously a fucking idiot. But out of all the politicians in the entire parliament of this country, and there's far too many of them, she's one who genuinely believes the bullshit.
She doesn't get up in the morning and look at the opinion polls and then
make up a policy based on that. She comes out, she goes, these are the things I believe in. I'm gunning for them and I don't give a shit. And I respect that little bit about everything else about her. I'd
like to see more of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's too party.
All these homogenous dickheads who just roll out the party line, afraid to say anything that they don't agree. Same as that. Who's that loon? The one over in WA, Patterman or whatever. She started the Muslim Australia Party, or whatever she's called it.
Yeah. Fatima Payman or something.
That sounds like her. Yes. I disagree with just about everything she spouts out, but she's part of the Labor Party. She's come out and gone, well, I disagree with them. She's had the guts to tell the Labor Party, I disagree with you, and which I think you're entitled to disagree with people. The problem that I see,
Fatima Payman,
Fatima Payman. Well,
she's allowed, and that's the whole thing.
She's allowed to
cross the floor.
Yeah,
and good on her.
Part of the rules, though, with the Labor Party, you can't cross the floor. Well, how can you have rules that say that you're never allowed to disagree with us? That's a retarded rule.
That's a bit like a disparaging thing, isn't it?
It's a bullshit rule. Like people are going to disagree, and if they're not disagreeing at some point, you've got a cult.
Yes.
And I don't want to be part of a cult. I don't want a country run by a cult.
No.
I want people who can think, operate, function as they see fit, and argue and debate. And, Lydia's a dumb shit. But she's entitled to her opinion. She got elected under the rules of this country as they stood when she got elected. She's entitled to be there. And if she wants to take the piss out of some bullshit oath, I got no problem with it. So, at the moment, for this particular little bubble, I'm saying go, Lydia, stay in Parliament. And you know what? Your brand of psychosis is kind of fun to watch.
There's some funny stuff going on over in WA with Port Hedland Council.
Yeah, you were talking about them the other day.
Yeah. Apparently, one of the councillors has appeared on a Russian TV show.
Nice.
That'd
cause a few upset tummies for their super conservative or liberal conservative. What do you call it now? They don't really have a true identity anymore other than fucking confused.
The WA Premier urges Port Hedland councillor to quit after Russian TV interview. So the WA Premier, and this is off an ABC News article, so I'm quoting direct from the ABC News, so we'll just have to trust that it's accurate.
We can trust that the Western Australia Premier.
Well, I'm pretty sure they'd be quite happy to be piling on. Yeah. So the WA Premier urges Port Hedland councillor to quit after Russian TV interview. So this was posted 23 hours ago. So Roger Cook has labelled a councillor in WA's North an embarrassment and has urged him to resign after a controversial appearance on Russian television. I don't know.
What's controversial about it? Some media outlet obviously wants to talk to you about something. You've gone, okay, I'll talk to you about it.
And I think by obviously their stance on the COVID vaccines.
That's the yeah. So that's the council that basically said, bash them up your bum.
Yeah,
we're out of here.
No more vaccines, and they're talking about some contaminated DNA samples and stuff in the vaccine. So they're relying on some information that may or may not be true.
Well, I have 100% confidence that I have no faith whatsoever in the efficacy and capability of the COVID vaccine.
Well, there's been I use the term since the crisis,
and I think using the term vaccine is really misleading, and it's.
And I don't know what the WA Premier hopes to gain by just disparaging the council.
He's just a commie prick who doesn't want anyone in there just.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where that's
agreeing with him. That's what he is.
So
he's a commie shit for brains. He followed a commie shit for brains in there. Mark McGowan was the worst.
Yeah.
Released a Father's Day card to himself. The height of arrogant dickhead.
Oh, and they're in the process.
I'm the father of Western Australia.
They've changed all the gun laws over there. It's a bit of a police state over in WA. And I don't know why. WA is a massive place and they need to control their ferals and do a heap of pest control and all the rest of it. And anyway, that's.
Yeah, well, the ferals that need most controlling, I think, are operating out of Parliament House. Yep.
So that's where that's at now. So that's a bit of a. If anyone's interested in any of that, that's probably worth a follow.
Yeah, throw that on the.
Apparently, the Liverpool Council inquiry has kicked off.
Yeah, righto. I'm due to have a chat with Michael Angelkovic, who I'm sure will be more than happy to come on and he'll give us his update on what's going on, what's not going on over there in that sort of show.
So, apparently, where's the news on that? Liverpool Council inquiry gathers pace. So the public inquiry into Liverpool City Council over allegations of maladministration and corruption is now accepting submissions. While not automatically made public, Inquiry Commissioner Ross Glover may decide to release all or part of any submissions received. So he's going to vet them. Nice one.
And we'll pick and choose what the public's allowed to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've got to keep the blinkers on as many people as possible for as long as possible. Very, very important, that.
So the public submission. So I imagine Michael's making a submission of some,
knowing Michael, yes, absolutely. I'm sure he would be. Well, we might see what he's doing. We've got our 20th episode next week.
The closing date for submissions is on the 16th of December, so don't expect anything to happen fast in that space. So here we were. They were going to be stood down. They were going to be denied an election. The mayor, who's apparently the cause of all this trouble,
has been re-elected.
Got re-elected as a popular mayor. So
it's crazy, isn't it, when you think about it?
It is. It's pretty. It's hard to get a line on what's going on. So if the Office of Local Government doesn't run a very robust and proper and thorough inquiry,
Yeah.
it's just going to leave more questions than answers and leave the place in an unresolved state.
Like most of them are in unresolved states.
Yeah, there won't be any resolution to it, and there won't be any way forward. So it'll just drag on like a dead cat.
Speaking of things with resolutions coming up, there's an election in a little place called the United States of America.
Yes, and the big orange guy.
The big orange guy, how's his polling?
He's firming.
Oh, I've got no doubt.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win at this stage, have you seen any of these town halls that Kamala? How's he? I don't know how. I can't impersonate him. Yeah, Kamala Harris has been doing a bunch of town halls. Town halls, bouncing around, and this is friendly territory. This is CBS and joints like that who are very, very supportive and want her in there. And she just can't put sentences together. She's got no idea what her policies are. Yeah. If she does not have a teleprompter and talking heads behind her, puppeteering, she is hopeless.
Mm.
You can dislike Trump for a lot of things, and some of his policies I think are appalling. He's produced some shit policies, and he can stick his time warp vaccines fair up his bum. But compared to the opposition, Christ, well, he's going to do that silly little dance he does straight into the White House again.
The betting channels have got him at $1.62. And his opposition's at 237, so they're starting to separate.
Well,
they're starting to
separate, yeah.
So I think when we looked at it when Biden was in the race, I think it was like Trump at $1.05 and Biden was at about $5.
Yeah.
So it was a one-horse race.
He blew out. Biden was done.
So what have we got? We got 2 weeks to the election.
Yeah, about 10 or 12 days. Yeah, something like that. I know they're taking early voting's happening.
Yeah, so
they were talking about Nevada on one of the programs this morning, and it looked like Nevada, the Republican outcome was going very well for them, which is unusual. Nevada's usually a blue state. And the big news from my perspective was Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know if you're familiar with Tulsi.
No.
She's every political, I'm going to say, centre-right, right-leaning gentleman's. She's a bit of a wet dream with her policy. She's ex-military. She was a fighter pilot, all this shit. She's a bad bitch. And she was Democrats. And she started asking questions, and they went, "You're out of here, not towing the line." I think she's based out of Hawaii or wherever. Well, she's come out less than 24 hours ago. Not only am I endorsing President Trump, I'm joining the Republican Party. So Republicans everywhere are rejoicing, along with RFK.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that the tides are sort of shifting on where those lines are, and where it was traditionally once upon a time very strict. This is what a left-wing person looks like. This is what a right-wing person looks like. And, you fit into one side or the other. Those categories, the rules are blurring to the point where the Democratic Party, which is the equivalent, arguably, of our Labor Party, have moved so far away from workers' rights and those types of things off into this woke cesspool of bullshit. And the Conservatives, up until, you sort of see this current Trump momentum, we're heading sort of a similar dishevelled past, a bit like if you look at Victorian Liberal Party or the Western Australian Liberal Party, which has just been obliterated a couple of elections, as they deservedly should be.
And the New South Wales Liberal Party, who couldn't put those council candidates in.
None of them could, the Liberal Party is just so devoid of leadership and spineless, gutless wonders. It's not funny. So you're looking at what's going on over there, and the dynamics are changing so much, where a Kennedy is now a Republican. That's unheard of. Like, that's just not even a thing in American folklore. Tulsi's jumped the fence, but then you've got people like Dick Cheney and his missus, who are hardcore Republicans. They're warmongering lunatics, have now jumped fence and they've gone Team Blue because they want Kamala in there, because again, that keeps the war machine going. It's just amazing to see how it goes. Whereas once upon a time it was the Democrats anti-war, we were, they were protesting the wars, and that was, how it is now. It's the other way around, and it's amazing to see.
I think some of our second-hand tanks have hit the ground in the Ukraine. I think we sent 49 tanks.
I saw that, and what a disgusting waste of our taxpayer dollars feeding into wars on foreign countries.
And it's also just a case of dumping your second-hand stuff that's not good enough to put
our guys in. But It's it's just
but $245 million worth apparently. So it's valued at about $5 million a tank. So yeah, that's where that's at. So they're just going to the car park over there. And who knows? So that'll be something. There's going to be some big ructions. There's been some massive moves in precious metals markets. There's been
gold's at an all-time high.
Yeah, there's been all sorts of different things going on. The US stock market hasn't gone mad, but
I haven't looked at my Bitcoin, but I wouldn't mind having a look. Might have to have a look and see how much my Bitcoin's worth.
Trump's tariffs and that protectionist ideas are being boo-hooed. But if you want to onshore and bring stuff back home and build it locally and have people with meaningful jobs and meaningful pay packets, then it's just, you can't have it both. The prices have to go up.
Yeah.
You can't have third world prices in a first world economy.
No, well,
if you want to build it in a first world economy.
That's part of the trick, is how do you get that balance between, look.
So that's going to be the big trade-off, and how, are people going to complain about paying 5-10% more?
They will. Absolutely, they
if
will.
It's made in the US of A.
Absolutely, they will.
Well,
and I can tell you,
I don't know whether people will see the other side of the coin and the benefit when people have got gainful employment. And you might be paying 5 or 10% more, but you're probably earning 5 or 10% more, and maybe making it at home after a few years of teething troubles might
possibly.
Yeah. But anyone who thinks they can outcompete the Chinese in manufacturing is delusional.
Oh, it's never going to happen.
They have cornered the market on how to make shit.
Yeah, absolutely. They copyright better than anybody in the world,
and
it's their right to copy whatever good ideas out there, and they'll copy it, and they'll take the right to make it cheaper, make it faster, make it better.
And they just take something and then they just out make you. They just Okay.
Well, the Labor bill's pretty handy over there, and they certainly haven't got any of this green energy bullshit going on. They've got as much coal, as much nuclear as you could possibly want. So their power prices are 2/10 and not much.
Yeah.
They
don't care about a pollution industry and whatever. But you look around Australia in some places and you think, well, we don't care too much here either. So
but we like to pretend we care. That's the variable.
So I don't know. Here we are. Like, I think I read an article the other day that the Whyalla Steelworks is again in some sort of a crisis.
Oh, is it?
And that's a crying shame in a country where we've got a heap of cheap minerals that could make cheap power.
Absolutely.
And we've got a heap of steel making minerals, but we can't seem to get
a foothold to make it a viable business.
Like steel. So
we've still got a luxury car tax to protect the car industry for Ford and Holden. They're not here. Haven't been here for a long time.
That's where it's at. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see all that play out. Anyway, he's got to get the job done. He's got to get there. He's had a few people taking pot shots. Plenty of water to go under the bridge. Did
you see him at the Catholic event the other week?
No, I haven't. Honestly, I haven't watched a minute of...
At one stage there, and it's a bit of a piss take, and Kamala and co didn't show up. Traditionally, everyone shows up and they all roast each other, and it's done, I guess, in a reasonable amount.
He's got a fairly strong anti-abortion view, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's fairly
anti-abortion. He's probably well received at a
Catholic event. But traditionally, like Hillary and Trump went at it there a couple of years ago. It's obviously they take pretty serious pot shots at each other. But at one stage he brought up the fact that there's a group called White Guys for Kamala, and he goes, "Oh, I should be worried about that. People tell me I should be worried about white guys for Kamala. I don't have to be worried about white guys for Kamala, because those guys, their wives and their wives' boyfriends will all be voting for me." Yeah, shit like that. And he's got a pretty good sense of humour still, I reckon. And he's I thought that was pretty good. And the fact that Kamala didn't even show up, which is almost unheard of in the last 30, 40 years, apparently.
Yeah. It'd be a big lobby group that
the Yanks like their Bibles, and they like their Bibles, they like their guns.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
Bibles and bullets.
Bibles and bullets for sure.
The job done.
Mate, thoughts on Rick getting involved in a prank parking tickets? I have no idea what you're talking about, Rob. If If you've got more information, you know anything about
There
it?
was something in the paper today that there's been some people putting some prank parking tickets on the windscreens of cars, advising people that perhaps they should improve their parking techniques and stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
There was some sort of an article in the paper. I haven't actually bothered to read it because it just looked like a bit of waffle.
Yeah, okay.
But that's I don't know. It's obviously upset Rick. So
I'll only read the tomorrow paper when you bring me a copy or somebody texts me a photo
well, there wasn't much.
whatever nefarious activity I'm being accused of this week.
No, so it's all pretty quiet. No codes of conduct so far. There's a few other things afoot, but we just need to let them flesh out a little bit.
Got to work part of the process. It's always part of the process.
No news out of Kiama Council. The one story I think that's hanging over from the last term of council at Kiama was the fact that about a month out before the election, the general manager announced that 3 councillors were being referred to ICAC for corrupt conduct.
Yeah.
And, you know, a sensible person would think that was a political move.
You would think so, yeah.
Because if you really want to conduct any sort of a meaningful investigation, the last thing you do is tell everyone that you're investigating. You know.
But if you do want to smear somebody's reputation, it's pretty easy to do that and get a few headlines and what have you.
I'm pretty anxious to see what the charges are and what actually unfolds there, because I imagine when they look, it'll all be gas.
Yeah, no doubt. It's all going to be bullshit.
There won't be much there.
Business as usual. And it's a bit like a woman who cries rape that hasn't been raped. It kind of pisses me off. I think that if you're going to claim something like that and it's not genuine, you should face the same amount of jail time and reputational damage as the person whose name you have besmirched with bullshit. If
they're going to cost the taxpayer significant sums of money to investigate this thing, then the cost of that investigation should fall back on them.
But the cost, but also the reputational damage.
There's no merit to it.
That's right. Where's the merit?
If there's no merit whatsoever,
absolutely,
then they should, and it should not fall at the council's feet. It should fall at the individual, the council officers, because so often these council officers, basically, they can make whatever mess they like, and the council picks up the chit, which is actually the ratepayers.
The ratepayers pay the bill.
So they make some really dumb decisions, and they basically just get, drop the invoice off at finance and walk out the door and.
Yeah, I've made it. It's like one of those dogs that tears up a room. And
anyway, in the normal world, if they want to initiate some sort of an action or instigate something, then they have to pick up the tab if it goes south.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where that's at. It's all been quiet at Snowy Monero Regional Council since Andrew Thaler was elected and attended his first council meeting, and the general manager left in a huff.
That's hilarious. I haven't heard back yet.
No, so
but Andrew's busy rattling cages 100 miles an hour as he does,
and we'll get him in at some point. And
I'm thinking we've got our 20th episode coming up. So I reckon it's pretty good, basically. After we were told we're not allowed to do this,
yes, and we're certainly reaching more people than we would have on Pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl FM's dead in the water. That's they're like a pterodactyl.
Yes.
That's fine. But I'm thinking, for our 20th episode, we should try and get a couple of guests in. I don't know. We'll see if Michael's available. Even we just get 15 minutes each. If anybody who regularly watches has anybody particularly who would, who you'd like us to reach out to, obviously there's certain people who just aren't going to. I could invite Rick in here every week forever, and he's not going to come.
No.
But Rick, the door's open. If you'd like to come sit with us, I'll have a conversation with you. I've got no problem there. Any of the other councillors, that's still wide open. That door's always open from my perspective. Come and sit and talk and tell us your side of whatever. Doesn't matter. Give us your perspective. I reckon we might have to get a few guests in for next week.
Oh, see how we go.
So what we can do. I think that'll
put together a bit of a program. Like I say, it's been pretty hectic, and we haven't had a lot of chance. There's been a couple.
I haven't actually seen you since last Thursday.
There's been a couple of things going on in the background that's been taking up some time. Fortunately, and I'm sure you're the same.
I've got another one locally. I'm going to ask you about it. Scotty Krause and Rachel.
Yes.
And something's going on there. I saw something on the book face, on Planet Bookface. You got any idea what that was all about?
No, they appear to have been refused membership of the Australian Jet Sprint Jet Boat Racing Association, whatever the actual formal. I'm not sure of the actual.
Whatever the criminal gang organisation is running it.
Anyway, so it's a bit disheartening when you've got someone who's an ex. I think he won the Australian Championship at one point.
Well, I mean, it's probably a big part of why they have the World Championships out here at T-Town.
Yeah, well, he's been an integral part of the sport and the club locally for a long period of time, and apparently they won't give him a membership. I haven't got the nitty gritty on it all, but I think we need to probably look into it and maybe.
I reckon. Look, I don't know if Scotty watches this, and to be honest, I've never had that much to do with Scott and Rachel. I dropped some parcels there when I was driving for Mill. But if you want to come in and have a seat and tell us what's going on, we'd be more than happy to consider this an invitation. If Scott and Rachel want to come in, and what's Cam Racing? It's called, isn't it? Chaos Racing. Yeah, right. Okay.
So. So I don't know. Like I say, we need to probably get a little bit more detail on that, and that'd probably be sensible to get a response. I don't know what's coming out of the association as such, but it's a sad day when people who have been involved in the sport for that long.
Oh, look, unless there's, best I can tell, something extremely nefarious, high-level theft, kitty fiddling operations.
Yeah, you don't know.
Rape and pillage. Unless you're in that sort of category, what in the frigging blue hell could you possibly be getting kicked out? Maybe it's like a code of conduct.
Yeah, I don't know. So
don't know.
We're going to find out about that.
Pardon me. It's been 3 weeks I've had this cough. I'll tell you, I can't shake it.
Well, I think it's that time of year. Anyway, that's where it's at. So like I say, we've got a bit of stuff on the go at Kiama, a little bit at Liverpool starting to happen, but they're taking submissions up until the 6th of December.
Yeah. This is a little lull before the storm. I think it's all going to get exciting and ramped up across the country.
And for anyone who makes a submission, they're going to have the ability to back it up and all the evidence and that they need. And it's going to get pretty willing, but not for a while. The gas will be we may well be approaching the end of this term of council by the time they come to any sort of a resolution.
Resolution for the problems of the last.
And who knows? We'll be due for a state election before then, and who knows how that's all going to pan out.
We've got a federal election starting to wind up as well, and by-elections popping up every 15 minutes every time some.
The worst part about all of these processes is it takes forever to get them through them.
They're never-ending cycles, and it just keeps everybody on the little merry-go-round. And it's a farcical. Yeah, it's a tactic. Absolutely, it's a ploy. But ladies and gentlemen, we're always planning on having a relatively quick one tonight, just based on the fact that, we've both been 100 mile an hour, 100 miles and running.
Yes. It's been pretty full on.
But again, I will mention I'm doing the half marathon on the 2nd down in Huskisson. I don't expect anybody to come down and watch my big ass lug himself 21 kilometres. I guarantee.
How are you feeling? Are you confident?
I'll finish it. I mean, that's fine. It's going to hurt. And I'm going to, but the cause is.
How's your training going?
Slowly.
Yes. Are you shuffling? Are you got a Cliffy Young shuffle going? Or
Mate, look, I've done a couple of 10, 12K runs. It hurts.
Yeah.
On average in my working day. So for those of you who know what my schedule's like, I'm pretty much up at any time from 3 in the morning. Between 3 and 6 is usually when I'm awake.
Yeah.
I'll work all that entire time pretty much through till, depending on what's going on, right? So I run pretty big days. I average probably 25,000 steps a day or something stupid. I don't do that at running capacity. So, I'll just have to sort of modify that a little bit. But the most important part about all this is obviously the charitable stuff for Bears for Hope.
Yes.
Now, I've got to reboot the link because it only lets you do 30-day links. We're over $1,000. Good. We're over $1,000. Target was $2,000. So tonight when I get home, I'm going to reboot the link, but it's going to be 10 days.
Yeah.
So it ends on the 2nd when I run across that finish line. Yeah. That's when we turn off the Bears for Hope charity. We've done $1,000. Some people so far have put in up to one lady threw in $200. There's been 50s, there's been hundreds. It's been really, really impressive. So I'll be rebooting that link tonight. I'll do a little bullshit video with it just so seems to get a few more views if there's video attached. Don't know why. That's something to do with the algorithm, I assume. Scotty Krause is watching tonight, hey, mate. We find out the AFJS. I don't even want to know what that acronym is. I'm assuming Australian Federation of Jet Sports.
Jet Sprint Association.
There you go. Reason we'll let you know, mate. Yep. And the offer stands if you do want to come and put it forward on this platform, you'd be more than welcome. Absolutely. Yeah. But you know, this Bears for Hope charity is really important. I've noticed this week I've had a few more women have reached out. Yep. And again, I don't profess to be the spokesperson for this, but as I said at the start of the program, I got a big mouth. So we're going to try and use it for a good cause. Yeah. Bears for Hope's a good cause. A lot of women have lost babies. A lot of families have lost babies.
Oh, it's just part of the
miscarriage.
process.
It's part of the process. But there's scars, there's experience, and if we can help this charity out, I'm absolutely.
There's quite a bit of disappointment attached, and there's a lot of emotions to deal with.
Absolutely, there is. So keep an eye out for that link. As I say it over and over again, we get 200-300 views on this program, $5-10 out of everybody, and you got yourself your $2,000, and we're over that line. So when I reboot that tonight, I'm hoping there's going to be some names and pop up, and then we'll get stuck into that. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're on the YouTube, subscribe to the channel. I don't know what it does. They tell me it helps the channel. I got no idea really. But you're supposed to like, you're supposed to subscribe, and then if you've got the courage, share it. The Facebook likes and shares, same thing. You know, more people see it. If you want people to see it, keep asking questions.
Yeah, I've been really I've just been under the pump, and I just haven't even done anything on the social media at all for a couple of weeks. That's due. You know, obviously we had all the lead up to the elections, and it was pretty intense. And then we've had a fair bit of stuff we've been getting hammered with just to get it all up and going. And there's still some resolutions for some stuff that's in train. So, it's still happening. It's still live, and I've been really impressed. I've been had a number of people reaching out and actually saying that they found the spin doctors really helpful to help them untangle a lot of the rumor and the BS that they'd been fed by various news sources and other people who, supposedly would be speaking the truth. And they've enjoyed seeing the other side of the coin, and it's helped them put a bit of two and two together. And they're a little bit less, what would you say? A little bit more inclined to think that perhaps we're on the right track.
It's interesting.
So that's
the feedback's positive, yeah.
Yeah, that's been pretty good. There's still been uncalculable damage done by some really ridiculous coverage in the media, and some really some scandalous rumor, and some really bad stuff that's been said and stuff like that. There's been obviously massive attempts at impacts on my business and my my welfare, but there's a lot of people reaching out and starting to say, hey, you're not alone, we're with you. So
courage is contagious, mate.
Yeah, that part of it's really good, and it's giving me a fair bit of hope and impetus to get on with the next term of council and keep doing what I'm doing, because I think we've probably been through the worst of it, and I think we're starting to get the message out there. And if anyone ever wants to question anything, or give us a ring.
Yeah, look, and I've said that to a million people. They ask me about it. I go, there's no way I'm reading all those folders.
No.
I look at the highlights, and my role as far as the council-related stuff is creating a platform that people can look at and check. I'm simply just a facilitator. As far as the details, the nuts and bolts, you want any nuts and bolts, give the guy a call. Irvine Signs, it's not hard to find the bloke. He's not in hiding, not in a cave in Afghanistan.
Look up the council website. My mobile number's on there.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not hard to find me.
And if you're not sure and you do know where to find me, I'm happy to put you in touch with the guy. So
good as gold.
To those who are very supportive, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yes, we do. It does mean a lot. It's been a pretty tough go, and there were times when I felt really isolated and quite alone. And it's just nice to hear some positive thoughts and some well wishes coming from some people. And they're really appreciative that they've seen the other side of the equation, and they can now understand what's been going on behind the scenes, and it's helped them.
I can live quite comfortably with people disagreeing with me if they've seen both sides of the argument.
Oh, there's no worries there.
Not a problem at all.
Your opinion, but
absolutely.
If you just get fed a constant diet of absolute heaped
bullshit,
double servings of bullshit, and you're asking for seconds, well, have a look at yourself.
Yeah,
go and get the other side of the equation. You can't. Anyway, that's your call.
That's it. We're all big kids, and we live with the decisions we make. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone have a great night. Have a great weekend. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday night for episode number 20, which is pretty exciting.
Well done.
Thanks very much.